Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. AA Ron.
AA Ron is back, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day we help one more person leave Scientology. Not literally, guys, but let's pretend that it's every single day. Okay, let's see. I wanted to talk to you guys about some recent efforts to do the opposite of go to war. I want to talk to you guys about some recent efforts to build bridges, some efforts at reconciliation, some efforts at bringing about some peace. If not for my own benefit, for the benefit of the community, that Scientology has kind of been getting its way, I would say, the last many months. What I mean by getting its way is Scientology's approach to any community that is exposing Scientology, criticizing Scientology, helping people leave Scientology, is to make it, by the way, please let me know in the live chat if you guys can hear me okay, it is to make it as icky, toxic, messy, full of conflict, to make it, make the environment such that not only does nobody want to join the environment, community environment space, but it actively repels the people who are already there. Now, that doesn't mean the only sources of conflict or upset or strife or drama are from Scientology influences. But it does mean that we have a community where any natural occurrences of these things inevitably also have, and nobody should be in question about this, dozens and dozens of unseen influences trying to pour gasoline on it, trying to make it worse, trying to stoke the flames, trying to take advantage of divisions and make them wider, trying to create new divisions, trying to encourage people who create divisions. And Scientology has really been getting its way in that regard for the last, 3, 6, 9 months or whatever. Since last November. So I guess that's 14 months. And, oh, by the way, guys, I hope a lot of you have really appreciated the return to regularly scheduled programming, focusing, leaning in hard on the Scientology stuff, doing more interviews. I'm going to be doing so much more of that, guys. That is my singular focus. That is the only way this community wins, really. It's the only way I win, is to focus on that. That's what I'm here on YouTube for, and I'm going to heavily lean into that, which is part of why I recently took inventory and asked myself if I was really doing everything I could to try and fix what I have been saying is the problem with the community, or had I fallen back on the comfort that I had already done what I could, and really the problem was everyone else, and all that kind of stuff. What really started me taking inventory was the video I did 4 or 5 days ago, whatever it was, I forget now, responding to Leah Remini's Substack post about Mike Rinder's passing. In that video, I opined on what started to happen in the community when Miriam Francis was starting to talk publicly about her concerns about Mike Rinder, specifically with respect to Mike Rinder's possible involvement in the past with Miriam's own abuse that she experienced in Scientology. At that time, Miriam was being very vocal against Mike Rinder. And Mike Rinder handled that very poorly. And people in the community were outraged, myself included, at how Mike Rinder responded to Miriam. And in talking about this, I had said that I felt there was really only one thing Mike could have done to resolve the concerns, the increasing temperature, the number of people who were lining up to support Miriam and lining up against Mike Rinder. And that if Mike wanted to resolve that, there was really only one thing he could have done. And I talked about that. And in that video, I said out loud what I was truly feeling at that moment, which was, if I had been in Mike Rinder's shoes at that time, even though it's so crystal clear to me now, and the truth is it was so crystal clear to me back then, that there was only one thing Mike Rinder could have done to resolve everything that was happening there. I said, I don't know if I was in Mike Rinder's shoes that I would have been big enough to do that thing, even though it would have been crystal clear that it would have resolved everything just like that. And when I finished that video, that really stuck with me for a few days, that I said that, or that I felt that way. Because I was like, because it brings up the whole conversation of blind spots, right? Like, a blind spot by definition is something, some deficiency that you have, some mistake you're making, and you just can't see it. It's not that you see it and you're explaining it away. It's that you can't see it. And I was like, what does it mean? What does it say about me that I can see so clearly what Mike should have done, and I'm not sure I would have been able to do it? If I'm saying it was the only damn thing he could have done, why do I think I might not have been able to do it? And if I think I might not have been able to do it, even when it's not a blind spot, even when I'm saying it's so obvious that it's the right thing to have done, then what does that possibly mean about the current situation and the current toxicity and the current divides? And, you know, am I lying to myself that I've done what I could do? And I chewed on this for a couple days. And I was talking to one of my closest friends. And she said, you know, if any of this is ever going to get better, it's probably only going to happen if you make the first move. And the truth of that seemed very obvious to me. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, so what's the first move? What is the first move? Who? And also more I wanted to say, more I want to say about my reflection on everything that's happening now and the commentary on Mike Rinder. I feel that the reason Mike Rinder did not do what would have resolved the situation is that a mindset that sort of comes from Scientology, and I'm very much aware that I still have it, that like once a certain line is crossed, there's no going back. Like, once you're dead to me, you're dead to me. Once I feel you've hurt me in a way I'm not capable of getting past, I will never get past it. And I will never allow myself to be tricked in getting past it. And it's a real sort of black hats, white hats kind of way of looking at things. And it's not like that's the only gear that I have. There's many examples in my life where I've forgiven and reconciled with people who've hurt me in that I feel have hurt me in huge ways. So it's not like it's the only gear that I have, but it's the gear that I feel like I've been in a lot more in the last year than ever before. And it just started to occur to me that if, you know, if I stay in that gear where no. Not only is reconciliation not possible, it's not possible because I won't even consider it. Like, even if it is possible, I don't care. And the truth is, that's kind of what Leah Remini said in her blog post about everyone who had crossed Mike Rinder. She said, you're dead to me. I'll never say your names. There's nothing you can ever do for the rest of your lives to get good with me. And it's funny because I was kind of criticizing her for saying that about former Scientologists. And yet I'm sitting here feeling that exact same damn way about a number of people right now. And this was part of the whole reflection thing. And I was like, you know what? Who's someone that I have felt that way about recently that I really want to fix that with? And the first answer for me was Laura Anderson, Laura FM. Because I really care about Laura and we were really good friends. And she's never really specifically done anything to me. Nothing unforgivable. And yet I've been lumping her in with others who I have felt that way about. And I was like, you know what? I said, I really, wait. Is my connection okay, guys? Is my connection okay? Okay. And I said, I really want to fix things with Laura. And then I thought, but the problem is if I reach out to Laura, by the way, my first thought was still, Nora's dead to me. I said, nothing will ever get me to try to reach out to Nora. Ever. There's so much bloody water under that bridge, not even on the table. And so at that, when I started this whole thought process, that's how I was feeling. Okay. So I was like, the problem is that if I reach out to Laura and Laura tells Scott, hey, look what Aaron sent me, Scott would tell Laura, don't respond. Don't reconcile with Aaron. And I was like, okay, so then what can I do? I said, you know what? I said, Scott's one of those people that would have been on my, there's nothing you could ever do to get me to bury the hatchet list. And I said, but if trying to bury the hatchet with Scott, I'm not talking about being friends. I'm not talking about doing videos together. I'm just talking about talking privately behind the scenes and, saying stuff out loud to each other that we've never said out loud to each other privately, and not making it a public circus, but trying to squash some beefs in private maybe. I said, if doing that with Scott will serve as a stepping stone to being able to make things better with Laura, I'm willing to do that. So that's the first thing that I did. Okay. And because there's nothing wrong with this text, I don't mind sharing this text message with you. I'm not trying to violate confidence, but this is just a message that I sent to Scott. I don't think I'm antagonizing anybody by showing this text message. I just want you guys to be able to know what I'm actually saying here. Okay, so this was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, 4 days ago. Hi, Scott. This is Aaron. I'm not sure if this is still your number or not, but it is the only one I have. I'm texting you because I've been doing a little bit of reflecting after the video I did last night about Leah Remini and Mike Rinder. I'd like to think that I'm capable of not just repeating the same mistakes that Mike Rinder made, which was digging in his heels, refusing to directly engage with people who were publicly criticizing him. Perhaps it would be good for us to try to clear the air. We could do it on a live stream together, or we could just have a private chat, or both. I'm down with whichever you prefer. Nothing good is ever really going to come from us continuing to be at odds with each other. It just kind of makes everybody feel messy. If you think that would be a good idea, just let me know. I'm available pretty much anytime. I don't know if you can see, there was a timestamp on this saying that he read it. Oh, you can't see that. Why can't you see that? Anyway, there was a timestamp on it that said, he read the message. And Scott didn't respond. And I was like, that's fine. But then Scott put up a few more videos attacking me and attacking my foundation and attacking Jenna Miscavige and all that good stuff. And I was like, okay, it's one thing not to respond. It's another thing to continue attacking without even responding. And this was after some people had told me that in some of Scott's recent live streams, he was talking about, being willing to sort of bury the hatchet. And you go, okay, well, all I can do is try. Okay. All I can do is try. Do I want to bury the hatchet with Scott? Not particularly, because no one in this community has tried to get people to not support my foundation more than Scott, and my foundation helps people leaving Scientology. So it wasn't something I was doing because I wanted to fix things with Scott. It was something I was doing because I feel like it's necessary to do things I don't want to do to try and help keep this space from devolving into something nobody wants to be a part of. Because that is when Scientology wins. All right. So Scott didn't respond. Scott kept attacking. And I said, all right. I said, you know what? If I can't fix things with Scott, I'll never be able to fix things with Laura. So I'm not even going to try with Laura. And then I started to reflect a little bit more. And I said, you know what? You know what, Aaron? You know what, Aaron? The fact that Nora is still, even as you're in this reconciliation mindset, the fact that you are so convinced you should not and should never reconcile with Nora is the exact reason why you should. Stop making excuses for why someone cannot be reconciled with. And I struggled with myself on that one. I was like, I can't bring myself to do it. I cannot bring myself to do it. And then I started to think about it. And I was like, yeah, that's why I need to. And I was like, but if I try to, she's just going to say I'm executing step 4 of the narcissistic cycle of abuse, of trying to hoover her back in, even though I've literally not said a single word to her in 7 months, even though she's messaged me plenty of times, mostly to insult me, most recently to ask me for my help. And because I've considered Nora on the do not fly list for me, I've never even responded. And I was like, don't let your fear of how someone is going to respond or characterize your efforts keep you from making the effort. I said, all right, I'm going to do it. And also I knew, I was like, I sort of screwed myself by reaching out to Scott first, because now Nora's going to be like, oh, he doesn't really want to reconcile with me. He's just trying to reconcile with everyone. And that's because he's a narcissist and he's hoovering everybody up. And the truth is, I only sent messages to Scott and Nora. I didn't send messages to anybody else. So I was like, you know what? She's going to say whatever she wants to say. She's going to think whatever she wants to think. All I can do is my best. And I'm willing to do my best. I'm willing to do my best this time. Okay. So I'll show you what I sent. I wanted to show you on December 23rd, she had sent me a text message after I did a live stream. The live stream that I did about Zero Dark Tony getting paid by Scientology through CCHR. I guess Nora was planning on maybe filing some sort of a lawsuit against Zero Dark Tony. So she wanted to talk to me about my source and my evidence. Now, the last thing in the fucking world I was going to do was talk to Nora about my source and my evidence. Like, that's the opposite of protecting a source. So I was not going to do that. And plus, I was in a mindset where, I'm sorry, Nora, you're on the no-fly list. So I'm not going to help you when you've literally been attacking me for about 5 or 6 hours a day, every day for pretty much the last 4 months. Anyway, I'm just explaining my mindset. It's not an attempt to attack Nora right now. But you can see on December 23rd, she's asking me to call her. She's asking me for help. And by the way, the next day, she's doing live streams, absolutely shitting on me, absolutely criticizing me for even having a source, criticizing me for going public with this information, pretending like I was making it up, either making it up or I've been sitting on this info the whole time. Basically just turned what was me releasing really good, helpful information and characterizing it as it was all some sort of, part of the grand conspiracy of narcissistic abuse. So you go ahead and look at her channel on December 24th and 5th and see the videos she was doing about me, while at the same time behind the scenes asking for my help. She goes, I understand your reluctance on your part to talk to me about anything. I would appreciate hard info on this. I actually do have a team of investigators and lawyers looking into criminal charges, and this would help my case. Needless to say, you can say that I never responded. Well, that changed on Wednesday. Let's see. When did I message Scott? Did I message Scott on a Tuesday? Yes. Okay. So I messaged Nora 1 day later. And I knew that if she found out I messaged Scott, that she was going to, take it badly, but what could I do? I didn't want to keep waiting. Okay, so here's what I said. Hi, Nora. There's probably no perfect time to pick up where we left off. The last time we spoke, there's probably no perfect time to pick up where we left off the last time we spoke. But I've been giving a lot of thought to the last video that I did about Mike and Leah a couple nights ago. There's a part in the video where I explained what I thought Mike would have had to do to bring down the temperature surrounding everything that was happening with Miriam and everyone that was lining up against Mike in defense of Miriam. And I said in the video that if I had been in Mike's shoes, I don't know that I would have been big enough to be able to do what I said Mike should have done, even though it clearly would have been the right thing. And I've been thinking about that ever since I finished the video. I've been thinking about the fact that it's so crystal clear to me that there's only one thing Mike could have done. And it's so clear to see what that is when it's someone else. I think that I've been repeating the mistake that Mike Rinder made, which is deciding that something isn't worth responding to or someone isn't worth responding to and completely writing them off and condemning them forever. And this is why I've never responded to anything you've sent me ever since the first video you did about me. I felt very justified in not responding to you or not privately engaging with you. Instead, I've either been completely ignoring you or being more like, if you hurt me, I'll hurt you back. As justified as this all feels at the time, I think it is a mistake. And I'd rather not keep making the same mistake if it's possible. So anyway, if you're open to having a private chat and maybe picking up where we left off, I am happy to do so. Now, if you mean picking up where we left off, the divide between me and Nora happened when I did a video asking people in the community, creator community, to maybe focus more on Scientology and less on attacking fellow former Scientologists. And I did this video after the foundation had a board member resign in protest over the nonstop attack videos that Nora had been doing at that time against all sorts of people, not just Mike Rinder. And at that time, if I had been in a particular headspace, not a good headspace, might have gone to Nora, who was volunteering as the volunteer coordinator for the SPTV Foundation at that time, and said, Nora, I'm sorry, I've never said anything to you up until this point because I don't really want to get into your business and I'm not the boss of you. But what you're doing is now hurting my foundation, and you either got to change your whole fucking direction or you can't work with the foundation anymore. And I said, I'm not going to do that because that's sort of shades of gray of what the Aftermath Foundation board did to me. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So instead I did a video saying, I am no longer willing to use my channel to promote creators who primarily focus on attacking former Scientologists instead of working cooperatively and collaboratively to focus on Scientology. It wasn't an effort to silence criticism of Mike Rinder. It was an effort to not continue to be personally blamed for something Nora was constantly doing without trying to give Nora ultimatums directly. Nora was very upset by that video. I spoke with her privately. I spoke with some other people privately who very much thought I was talking about them because I didn't call anyone out by name. And I had a conversation with Nora that she doesn't remember because she was on medication following a medical procedure. And in that conversation, I profusely apologized to her. I acknowledged the harm that she was feeling. I took responsibility for it. And I gave her my word that I would dedicate all of my efforts to helping her if she wanted that, and to keep her from being dragged by her enemies who were likely to use my video against her. She doesn't remember that conversation, which is fine. Her wife was there for the conversation. I don't know I don't know what to say about that. But when I said pick up where we left off, that is what I mean. The last phone conversation Nora and I ever had together was, I hope I'm remembering this correctly. I hope I'm remembering correctly that was truly the last phone call that we had. I can't remember if we had a phone call after that went badly. But when I said, let's pick up where we left off, that's what I mean. The last call we had was fantastic. It was great. It's kind of funny to me that she doesn't remember it. And it's like, I mean, funny because she's like, Aaron says it was the greatest conversation, but I was like medicated and I don't remember any of it. To me, it's funny that it was the greatest conversation we ever had because it truly was. And I'm like, you know what? Let's pick up where we left off. Because by the way, in that phone call, the way it ended was we agreed to both get a good night's sleep and continue the conversation the next day. I had a lot going on the next day. By 7 p.m., we had not yet spoken. That's when Nora went live and did her first video, just absolutely fucking annihilating me. And from that moment on, Nora's been dead to me. But since the last time we actually spoke was a great conversation where we were being open with each other and honest with each other and caring about each other, even though she doesn't remember it, I said, let's just pick up where we left off. This was not an effort to apologize. It was not an effort to ask for an apology. It was an effort to pick up where we left off. Okay. So she responded to me the next morning. Listen, I honestly don't know what to think about all of this right now. My stream about Neil Gaiman fucked me up like a lot. I need to rest and figure shit out. But I read it, and when I feel better, I will try to give you a comprehensive response. And I said, I understand, no rush. I did a video about it yesterday as well, meaning Neil Gaiman. It did not go the way I thought it was going to go. Nora and I both happened to do Neil Gaiman videos on the exact same night, and we both got incredibly emotional, I think for slightly different reasons. But that's what I was referring to. Okay, then yesterday, I guess 5 minutes before going live and doing another 2.5-hour live stream, absolutely dedicating herself to my complete destruction. She texted me. Sorry, guys, I can't help it. She texted me and said, I have read over your messages multiple times, and after taking time to rest and ponder and reflect, I can only come to one very definite conclusion, that you and I are doing two very different things. I'm focused solely on crimes in Scientology by current Scientologists or former Scientologists without any hesitation or diminishing of the crime based on the fact that the person left Scientology. I'm focused on exposing abuse in all its forms, no matter who does it or where it comes from. You are doing something else. So at this time, I'm going to respectfully hard pass on any private conversation or conversations with you. I do not trust anything private with you. Okay. She then did a 2.5-hour video about how I was obviously just trying to demonstrate or acting out the next and obvious step in my cycle of narcissistic abuse, of trying to hoover her back into my world. All right. When you set up, I see Kiki. Let me see. Stop texting and just call her. Have a real conversation while you are both sober and in your right minds. You are both big personalities and have a lot of feelings. I don't know why people are so obsessed and think that I drink all the time. I hardly ever drink unless I'm going out. Okay. Anyway, while you're both sober. The truth is, me calling Nora, I would actually be worried would be taken as an act of aggression. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like showing up at someone's front door. Now, calling someone's not as aggressive as showing up at someone's front door, but it is more aggressive than sending someone a text that they can read at their own time and respond to at their own time. And also, I'm not going to lie, I've got to sit over her being worried about how she's going to respond and use anything that I do anyway. So, you know, if I leave a voicemail, is she just going to play the voicemail in her next video? Now you might go, well, if it's a nice voicemail, what's the problem with leaving it? Well, yeah, if it's a nice text message, what's the problem with texting it? So, you know, my effort to text instead of call is an effort to not make someone feel any more threatened than they might be by simply receiving a communication from me in the first place. When you set up a situation where, like, you know, the saying, to a hammer, everything is a nail. So it's like, for the longest time, Nora has said that my refusing to engage with her is a form of narcissistic abuse. If I reach out to her, you know, with compliments and trying to apologize, that's going to be taken as love bombing and narcissistic abuse. If I reach out to her with negativity and anger, that's of course going to be narcissistic abuse. If I reach out to her defensively, that's going to be gaslighting, and that's going to be narcissistic abuse. If I reach out to her genuinely and sincerely, that's just me trying to cleverly and skillfully act out the hoovering stage of narcissistic abuse. If you set it up where it's literally never possible to make something better. And remember, guys, I'm not talking about being friends. I'm not talking about doing videos together. I'm not talking about her promoting the foundation. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm just was trying to make sure I wasn't lying to myself, that I had done everything I could to at least try, that I wasn't inadvertently making it worse by refusing to engage. You know, some wise people have said, particularly to me lately, you cannot have really strong hatred without having previously had really strong love. And, you know, Nora has at times made comments that made it clear that over the years, she has repeatedly felt hurt by not feeling included by me in various things. Even finding out she wasn't on the board of the SPTV Foundation was very, very hurtful to her. She has said to people, Aaron's never invited me to the grown-ups table. When I hear statements like that, I have to acknowledge that it is possible me refusing to engage with Nora even though I feel so justified, might possibly just be making something worse. I'm digging in, she's digging in, but perhaps my digging in is actually even more hurtful to her than her digging in is to me. And that if I'm willing to recognize that as a possibility, I should be the first one to reach out. And that's what I tried to do. So it didn't work. I don't think that means it will never work. Just because I'm trying to do something doesn't mean the other person has to, be cooperative or willing to do the same thing back. But if Nora is in a frame of mind where it's not possible for her to see my effort as genuine, then I guess I can't really blame her for her reaction. And, perhaps explaining that it is genuine. I'm not looking for Nora to now be Team Aaron. I don't give it I'm trying to make sure I'm not lying to myself about my own blind spots and just waking up every day telling myself that I've done everything. Because the truth is, I know I haven't done everything. I've been giving myself excuses for not doing more, or for not even, in some cases, even trying. And this was an effort to do that. I will say this. the efforts of some to try and reduce support in this community for two foundations that exist for the sole purpose of helping Scientology, helping people leave Scientology, is something that I find very troubling and something I want to say a few words on. If someone is saying that all former Scientologists associated with the Aftermath Foundation and the SPTV Foundation are all bad, are all criminals, or narcissists, or narcissist enablers, and if you're going to encourage all of the fans of all of the channels and all of the whatevers to not support the foundations that exist to help people leaving Scientology, then please start your own foundation so that you're not just destroying one effort without providing an alternative. I said in one of the last videos that I did where I talked shit about Nora. It's not like okay. I said, Nora, with 3 people and about 1 hour and about $250, you could start your own foundation. You only need 3 people because you have to have a president, a secretary, and a treasurer. You only need about $250. I can't remember if it's $185 or $285. It's somewhere around there. It's cheap. The application fee for the 1023 Easy form is only a few $100. It takes about 1 hour or less. You could probably do it in 15 minutes to fill out the form. And it only takes 3 weeks to get tax exempt approval from the IRS. The reason it took the SPTV Foundation 9 months to get approval is because we filled out the long form. The long form right now has about a 9-month approval process. If I knew that we would be able to get away with filling out the 1023 Easy, I would have done that. But you're only supposed to fill out the 1023 Easy if you're expecting to raise less than $50,000 per year for your first 3 years. And I knew we were going to raise more than that, even without doing a single actual YouTube fundraiser the way that we used to do for the Aftermath Foundation. We still raised over $50,000 this year for the SPTV Foundation. So Nora, that's the reason why I said it would only take you 3 weeks, even though it took me 9 months to get approval. Last night, Nora said that none of these foundations should have any ex-Scientologists on it. Who the fuck is supposed to care about helping people leave Scientology more than ex-Scientologists? And also, the board members of these foundations just exist to approve applications and put the money to the best use possible, helping people leave Scientology. I don't want to be too long-winded about this. I guess what I'm saying is, if you're going to try and tear down what other people are doing, create your own thing so that you have something positive to push. These foundations were created because but before them, former Scientologists who desperately needed help had to essentially embarrass themselves by putting their stories out there on the internet. And you guys know how fundraisers work. You have to basically humiliate yourself by saying how desperate you are for help. And it doesn't have to be humiliating, but put yourself in the shoes of someone who's doing this fundraiser because they're leaving Scientology. You basically got to put out the biggest sob story possible. And that means the only people able to put out these fundraisers are the people willing to put their business out there on the internet. And that created a huge hurdle for people to actually get certain types of help. The purpose of the foundations was so that people could get this help confidentially behind the scenes without the world having to know about it. And it really takes only a former Scientologist can really talk to someone leaving Scientology in a way that they need. Like, it's one of the biggest things people leaving Scientology struggle with is being able to talk to someone who actually understands what the hell they're saying. Not only the words, but who already understands the experience. That's why it is imperative that former Scientologists are involved in the effort of helping people leave Scientology. Now, I know Nora said all the Aftermath Foundation board members should all find never in Scientology people to replace them on the board. The board members should be relegated to advisory positions. And you just go, why? And then Nora said, if I ever started a foundation, I would not put myself on the board. And you go, yeah, that means you're not starting the foundation. Like, that means someone else is starting the foundation. The people who start the foundation are the ones on the board. You have to fill out the paperwork. You fill out the paperwork, you're on the board. Otherwise, someone else is starting the foundation. Anyhow, I'm being long-winded about this. It is still my hope. It is still my hope that somehow, some way, the personalities and the conflicts and the disagreements that have resulted in the space getting messier and messier, that somehow, some way, this can improve moving forward. And I'm not here to say, I wanted to show you guys that I did what I could. I've done all I can done, washing my hands of it. Now other people are definitely to blame. That's not where I'm at. I just wanted you guys to see that I'm working on it. I intend to keep working on it. I guess it's easy for me to say this while I'm in a good mood. Maybe I'll feel differently if I wake up tomorrow in a bad mood. But honestly, the community as a general, and also this is one thing I struggle with, the word community. I go, okay, what is it a community? Is it not a community? Who are the community members? Is it the creators? Is it my viewers? Is it everyone's viewers collectively? Is it just former Scientologists? Because it's like, does it have to be a community? Does it need to be a community? Like, I don't know, you guys. What the hell was I saying? Oh, the community, if we're going to call it that, is important enough to put personalities and egos and hurt feelings aside, not so that we can all have some united front and be happy and every friends with each other and cross promote and co-promote and boost each other. That's not my goal. My goal is to stop tearing each other down, stop constantly creating divisions, stop drawing lines in the sand and then declaring war on anyone who doesn't agree with you. I'm going to do my best not to contribute to that kind of shit. And I'm going to do my best to make it possible for others not to do it as well. And if that means being a little more humble, showing a little more humility, being willing to listen to people I've long since decided I would never listen to again, I'm willing to do that. And I'm trying. Okay. We got a whole bunch of starred comments here, and then we will wrap this one up. Eve May Karain, if it's real, this would be the best revenge towards the horrific cult of Scientology. Don't you think? Scientology loves hatred in the ex-Scientology movement. Let's go. This comment really does, it nails it right on the head. No matter how justified I have felt going after certain former Scientologists in the times that I've done it, the truth is Scientology loved it. And And I guess that's where I guess that's what a blind spot is, right? I know even in videos where I've sort of maybe called for the cessation of drama, even in those videos, I have justified continuing to go after certain people. And that's just really pure ego. And, you know, I guess it would be great if I want to fight with someone or if I want to shit talk someone, it should just be behind the scenes. I shouldn't use my channel for it. And I certainly know that by doing that to other people, I have created in other people the same mindset I have been carrying around, which is Aaron's dead to me. I'll never forgive him. I'll never reconcile. There's nothing he could ever do or say to get good with me after how he's hurt me. And that's exactly how I've been feeling about a lot of people as well. And so I guess it's one of those things where I guess you have to be the change that you want to see in the world. And that's really easy to say, but really hard to do. And I think I can bring myself to do it. So I'm going to keep trying. Paralegal Eagle Eye. Got to stick together and kick Scientology's bum. Kylie, I think it's interesting how you have dozens of random people making entire YouTube channels to expose you. There are actual influencers who don't have that. These people are all anonymous too. I know. The irony of having all of us former Scientologists out here doing this with our faces and our names, putting our reputations on the line. You could say putting our safety on our line, but I tend not to like be hyperbolic like that. And then you have this anti-former Scientology community, the vast majority of which are completely anonymous people. And we're just supposed to pretend like it's not a 50-50 shot. They're literally Sea Org members behind these accounts. like it's at least 50-50, guys. I mean, they're completely anonymous people. I got to tell you, the one thing you guys all know, Nora calls it the Potato Head Foundation YouTube account. This account only has, I forget what, hundreds of subscribers, less than thousands, hundreds of subscribers. I've probably filed like 15 or 18 copyright strikes against this channel because when they use my material, they don't meaningfully alter it enough. This person has used a lawyer to respond to all of my copyright strikes because if you use a lawyer, YouTube will automatically accept your response. This person, how much do you think this is a person in Austria. I think it's Maria Martins. She claims it's not her. But how much do you think this Austrian citizen is paying an Austrian lawyer? Because I have the lawyer's information. How much do you think she's paying an Austrian lawyer every time he writes a letter to YouTube to submit a counter notification for a copyright strike? How much money do you think this person has spent submitting like 18 letters from a lawyer to YouTube just to defend a channel that has like 300, 400, 500, 600 subscribers? We think, what's the 50-50 shot that person is not a Sea Org member at the Office of Special Affairs International, or at least someone being paid? Now, of course, they're going to be like, oh my God, that's you just say everyone's OSA. No, I usually say nobody's OSA, but it is so crazy that there's all these anonymous accounts that seem to have 24 hours a day to attack every single person, or at least half the people in this community. Who has that kind of time? Who has that much care? And these are people who even their own stories is they've never been in Scientology. So you've never been in this community and you're dedicating your time to attacking at least half of the entire community. And we're supposed to believe there's not a 50-50 chance you're a Sea Org member at the Office of Special Affairs International. Get out of here. All right. Phil Foe, this is big. It shows that both of you are bigger people than I thought. Much respect. Well, Phil, now that you've seen the whole video, I wonder if you would make this. All right. I promised myself I wouldn't say positive things and then say negative things, because that's what I always do. I say positive things and I make my point, and then I say a whole bunch of negative things that makes things worse. And I'm not going to do that, Phil. I'm not going to do that. Eve May Karain. Yes, Aaron, I love the regular programming thingies. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Eve. It's the little things. Sometimes a death brings people together. That is a very interesting point, because that was also part of the conversation that I was having with my friend that led me to be like, this is important enough to put my own ego aside. Mike Rinder was, someone, whether it happened organically, whether it was his fault, it was his fault. But what was happening with Mike Rinder is something Scientology has been able to just pour the gasoline on, pour the gasoline on, pour the gasoline on, use it as an opportunity to inflame tensions, tempers. And now that he's gone, it sort of makes sense that if Scientology was going to try to hang on to one person and just inflame things on both sides, as of right now, it would make sense that that person would be me. And that part of the conversation made me go, if the only way to prevent Scientology from continuing to get its way is for me to figure out how to try to make it better, then I'm willing to do that. The overall success of this space is more important than my hurt feelings or my ego. And that's what I'm trying to really own and do something productive with. Susie says, creators can call out bad behavior without name calling or other lowest common denominator BS. That's true. It would be nice. Like, let's imagine a world where we're all friends, which is kind of how it used to be for a little bit. I honestly think criticize your friends in private, support your friends in public. That's how I treat my friends. And that's also how I expect to be treated by friends. So, but I hear what you're saying. You're saying call someone out, but don't call them names. Well, sure. If you have to call them out, is it necessary? But I get your point. If you're going to call someone out, you can call them out without being insulting and calling them names. And that is true. Just a Northern girl. Love the regular programming. Thank you very much. I got to say, I'm always impressed at your willingness to self-reflect. Aaron, thank you so much. It doesn't happen all the time and a lot. I mean, the truth is it does happen all the time. I just don't do videos about it all the time. And oftentimes, oftentimes the self-reflection is to be like, am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Yes, I'm right. Okay. So it feels like self-reflection, but it doesn't always result in opening the door to making things better. Joker 37. It's easy to cause division and it's not easy to right a rift. Deanna Moses. Some things said with this drama has been insane and disturbingly disrespectful. That would be one of the understatements of the year. Now we're only 18 days into the year, but still. Okay, Deanna Moses. There are lines though in life. Exactly. And this, well, I'll finish the statement. And if we let people cross them, we aren't honoring ourselves in healthy ways. We can forgive, but not forget or let certain people back in our lives. That is the balance I have never been able to figure out how to strike in my life. I feel like it ends up pendulum swinging all the way one way or all the way the other way, where I let people back into my life who have no business being in my life. Or I refuse to ever consider reconciling with people that I should be able to reconcile with. The problem that I end up struggling with is, and honestly, this was one of those situations, is I would have said on any given day over the last 3 months that Nora and Scott are two people that no matter what happens, I would never even consider being tricked into ever letting any of these two people back into my life or in any way, shape, or form. And yet you can see the dilemma here. You can see the dilemma is like, if I feel like I'm being true to those values, then in order to change my mind, I'm essentially tricking myself into abandoning those values. And so you go, how are you supposed to be able to decide whether that's a mistake or not? And I don't know the right answer. All I know is if I'm feeling right now because also it's because how do you know what's the right answer when you also have your own blind spots? How do you know how to strike that balance? How can you do the math on that if you have blind spots and you might not know what they are? It's almost impossible. It's like impossible to do this math. And so all I can say is that it feels like the right thing to do right now. And it feels like it will still feel like the right thing to do tomorrow. And if that feeling changes, then it changes. But this is how I feel right now. It's the little things. Exactly. Nobody deserves forgiveness. Forgiveness is not owed. Forgiveness is earned, and forgiveness does not mean forgetting. Maria Damazzi. Hi, everyone from Greece. Can't count how many times I have said, end. You're finished as far as I'm concerned. And at the same time, or a few minutes later, I regret it. Yeah. Sue Irwin. Hey, I like the stream, playing catch up, and I'm loving the pale shirt color, Aaron. Thank you. I believe this was PTS Type 2 Blue. I broke it out of the SP Spring collection. People have tried to tell me it's not, in fact, spring, and I reject your reality, and I insert my own. Thank you very much. I've been rocking the dark blue lately, but the dark blue shirt is in the laundry right now, and so light blue wins the day. Marilyn Honig, always good to see you, Marilyn. Community members who've been supported for years have been singled out as enemies because of who they are friends with. Some have left or are about to leave. This doesn't seem helpful to the cause. Absolutely. Continuing to hurt people in the community who have only been here to support us from the beginning is incredibly destructive to the whole thing. And that's one of the factors that I considered in, why I needed to own the fact that if I wasn't going to take the first step, I could never justify complaining that other people were the problem. And I didn't take the first step so that I could say other people were the problem. I took the first step because I knew that had to be the first step. It was the only step that could be taken, is the first step. Just a Northern girl. Laura has her own mind, though. You should be giving her the option, not her boyfriend. And that's true. That is true. And yeah, you're right. And I will. Eve May Corain. You know what, Aaron? You are very much a very smart human who's trying the best in this ugly fight against the cults and their friends and plans. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Paralyze to paralyze. Never bet against an ex-Scientologist reconciliation. Hashtag told you so. Arkansas Flamingo. Aaron, I'm happy to see your growth. I continue to pray for you. Well, thank you very much. Kiki Lahibu. I hate to say it, but there is no just picking up where you left off. You both need to start over and make amends for the way you have both behaved. I mean, I understand your sentiment, but it's also, what are my thoughts on this? One of the problems with the concept of making amends, at least to a former Scientologist, is that it's so much tied up in Scientology's lower conditions. And it's a little bit of I don't use this word, but triggering. And I guess at the risk of getting into defending myself a little bit, which isn't the purpose of the video, my last conversation with Nora, unless there was a later conversation that I'm forgetting, was me profusely apologizing to her and pledging my undying support to her. So again, I realize I am going to sound defensive here. So I guess I said I wasn't going to say anything negative. It's like to have that phone call and then to have agreed to talk the next day. And then without a text message or without a missed phone call, to then be put on blast by someone I thought was one of my closest friends, and then it's never stopped since then. I will admit, it is hard for me to bring myself to a place emotionally where I feel like I owe apologies and amends, which is why I didn't start out my reach to Nora that way. But you'll notice I'm also not asking for an apology or amends. And so I'm still considering this a two-way street. I think it is possible to pick up where you left off. but maybe that's just one of my blind spots. Kylie says, I like this community, but I feel like so many of the fans are freaks. I just watch YouTube. I can't imagine spending hours on bullying live streams and gossip Reddit threads. It's scary, to be honest. It is scary. And no offense to anyone in the live chat community, I will point out that one of the things that is a huge Achilles heel for this former Scientology community, and I guess it's my fault for, getting everyone to do live streams, is the live chats. The live chat, not you good people in the live chat, the live chats is the medium through which all of the toxicity and negativity spreads. If all of us former Scientologists were just pre-recording and editing and uploading videos, none of this unbelievable toxicity would be able to spread the way that it does. You guys will notice the people spreading the most toxicity in the live chats are anonymous accounts. Now, of course, there's a lot of actual, destructive freaks contributing to that as well. But even if those people weren't there, the anonymous Scientology-controlled accounts would still be there doing the exact same thing, which is why I moderate my live chat so heavily and my comments so heavily. This is my platform. This is my space. This is my house. You want to make it a shit show? You don't get to. You want to drag other people? You don't get to. You want to inflame wars? You don't get to. Do it on your own channel. Show your own face. You know what I'm saying? I would give that advice to everyone else, but I'm not the boss of everyone else, so it's just advice. And the truth is, some creators do seem to want to foster the drama and the division. So, okay, I think I lost my spot. Kylie, all of the clear troublemakers in this community genuinely don't seem normal. And I feel like they're either paid by Scientology or mentally unwell. Well, I can understand why you would feel that way. This is good. Buttercup 49. This is good for the community, so the focus can get back to exposing this dangerous cult. Yeah. Nikki Lahibu. I hope you both find peace and appreciation for what each other do and for the passion you both hold for the overall objective and mission. Gertie Lorette, thank you very much. Ann M, you two are not on the same page. I'd leave it alone and let the other party come up with better coping skills. That's possible. Soon, Aaron, you're setting up boundaries. It is not your problem that she feels hurt by that. I know it's not my problem. I know. But it also might be unrealistic for me to expect instant results or reciprocation or agreement. And anyway, I take your point. Emor, I'm actually impressed with your thought process. Yes, you can call me a lot of things. I may be a lot of things, but my mind is like racing 24/7. And it's usually racing, trying to figure out, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this? Whether it's good things or bad things. And I am like, it's almost a problem. My mind is constantly racing. And and it actually keeps me from getting things done I need to get done. And I guess my point is there's that thought process, the thought processes that I am articulating to you right now. This is what goes on in my head, like 20 hours of the day, no matter what it's about. It could be about small things, but yeah. Okay. Main mom, we can agree to disagree. Very true. Abigail, so there's basically no way you can win, Aaron. Fair point. You've made an effort, which is all you can do. Hopefully things will improve in the future. Literally, Lisa from H-Town. Regardless of all this recent drama, it's clear that you both care and love each other as humans. That doesn't mean you have to be best buddies. It just means you have a history. Eileen Bradley, if someone made hours and hours of streams bashing me, I wouldn't put any more energy into them. There's a limit to what someone has to put up with. Well, Eileen, that sentiment is why I decided I was never going to respond to anything Nora sent me ever. But it doesn't feel, it feels like that way of operating may be making things worse. Because you'd think that over time, things would just sort of chill out. And it's not. Like, it feels messier and messier and messier. Anyway, I'm acknowledging the truth of your statement and going, I don't know. It's the same thing I said earlier of how do you know what the right balance is to strike? It's quite literally impossible to know. You can only go with what feels right. And what feels right changes over time. And it changes with the mood. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. Donna Hannah, Ramon's Girl 1. Aaron, this is amazing self-awareness and growth. I'm proud of you. This is why I have your back and always will. Thank you, Donna. You know I read all of your emails, and I've been responding to much more of them lately. So thank you. Born Ancient. Respect for your self-reflection and for being the one to reach out, Aaron. That's huge. Sadly, we don't always get the closure or solution we want. Mental health nurse practitioner UK is proud of you. Thank you, Born Ancient. Come on, eh? If you can't disagree with something someone says without falling out, that person isn't your friend. They're using you. Ex-Scientology folks get to have their own perspective, period. I totally agree. Evelyn O'Brien, I think you did the next right thing and appreciate your self-reflection. Some people are in our lives for a reason, and some, I think you meant not for a reason, and some are not for a reason. Time can heal. Bless you both. Lisa Kelson, love seeing your positive growth. Power lies to paralyze. Can't hurt. Here's $10 for trying. Love it. Karen Berg, you did the right thing by reaching out to people, yet all of you smash each other. I'm hoping all of you start fresh. Forgive and forget, or not forget. Just all of you, please start fresh. But first, coffee. Susie Oberholtz. Susie, I did get your email the other day. Sorry I didn't respond to it. You can be a community and disagree. You cannot be a community and attack everyone. I like that statement. That's right. You can respectfully disagree without attacking each other. Yep. And to be honest, I'm going to try not to do the thing where I said some good stuff and then I said some fucking negative stuff afterwards. I still truly believe the absolute moment things went south between me and Scott is when Scott decided he was going to use his platform to call out former Scientologists in this community as bad actors. And I basically said, nobody's going to do that to my friends without me saying something. And he was also calling out 86 GOP for being a bad actor because 86 GOP said he wasn't going to send Scott any more money. 86 had given Scott $15,000 to buy everything needed for the Occupy L. Ron Hubbard event. And when someone's paying for your whole thing, they get to ask you to do things a particular way. And if you don't want to, he gets to say, okay, then I'm not going to give you any more money. And that's just how the world works. That doesn't make someone a bad person. It doesn't make someone a Scientology plant. And unless I'm misremembering it, that was the first time someone tried to call other good people in this community bad actors or Scientology plants. And I'm talking about ex-Scientologists. Rib Guy is an ex-Scientologist. Tori Christman, Tori Magoo, is an ex-Scientologist. Eric Rader is an ex-Scientologist. When someone, Scott, who's never had anything to do with Scientology, who only showed up to this movement about a year ago to be a professional protester, starts trying to say that ex-Scientologists working to expose the cult that they grew up in and left are bad actors. You don't get to do that to my friends without me saying something. And then when I said something, all of a sudden, Scott wanted to be like, oh, I'm just going to ask questions about the foundation. Where's the money going, Aaron? What's wrong with asking questions? There's nothing wrong with asking questions. Implying that there are underhanded, dishonest things going on just because you're trying to cause strife isn't just asking questions. That's the thing. There's nothing wrong with just asking questions. Doing that isn't just asking questions. Scott only decided to go to war with me and try to go to war with my friends and my board members and my foundation when I called him out for calling my friends bad actors. Do you see? This is how I remember it. This is how it went down. So I agree with this statement. Oh, is it still there? Yes, this right here. You can be a community and disagree. You cannot be a community and attack everyone. What you just said, the truth of what you said, and violating that is, in my opinion, how this all began. Okay. Tony Hoban. So hoping for the best. Anger is a dangerous entity to get swallowed up in for a long period of time. Julia O'Connell. I am heartbroken over the divisions. Eileen. New year, new start. Old Frizz. They're not going to stop attacking you, Aaron. You just do you. Keep showing up. You're still the best at presenting anti-Scientology content. That is a fact. You may be right. And the truth is, I'm not doing this to keep anyone from attacking me. It doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is trying to go, what does this look like 6 months from now? What does this look like 12 months from now? Does it look to be something that's going to attract more people? Does it look to be something that if I see how it's going now and I look 12 months in the future, does it look like something that the people running the programs over at Scientology to destroy this movement, are they going to be going over there going like, we're making good progress? That's all. That's what's motivating me to try to do this. Are they going to go, yeah, we did it. We did it. And not only did we do it, we got them to do it to themselves. And as of right now, I think that is what would be happening. Unless we actively try to change something, I think that is the way it will look 12 months from now. Marilyn Honig. Oh, Marilyn Honig. Welcome as a new channel member. And Bliss Chris. Well, now it's time to put a wall up and ignore her noise. You tried. I personally watch y'all for the content. Others seem to like the infighting more. Your content supporters are your real ones. Thank you, Bliss Chris. I really appreciate that. Marilyn Honig gifted 5 channel memberships. Thank you. Doesn't matter to you, not to me. Trolls coming from both or many sides. The hate needs to stop. Get back on point. The problem is when the hatred and the division is what gets you your clicks. I don't care about clicks. Making you your money. If the hatred and the division is what's making you your money, and if you care more about that than the movement, then you're going to lean into that. I say judge someone by their actions and not their words. If someone continues to lean into hatred and division, despite efforts to stop that, know them by their actions, folks. Natalie is a great example of not engaging in YouTube drama. Yeah, and she gets absolutely attacked for it. It's unbelievable. Know them by their actions, folks. Jesus Christ. No one has tried to stay out of people's bullshit and business more than Natalie, and she gets absolutely crucified for it. It's insanity, folks. We're here to expose Scientology. You know, we're not here to be the Real Housewives of Scientology. Elise, Aaron, you just keep trying. Aaron, you just keep trying with people that were friends. Okay. Henley. Proud of your introspection, Aaron. Please keep it up. I never left and will not leave you, as I know we are all broken people. Thank you. V-Bombs, so proud of your growth. You're awesome. Thank you. Bonsai babe. Maturity in this community is hard to come by. A neutral truce would be welcome by many of us. That's right. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to be each other's hype people. A cessation of the violence would be nice, because you guys know, look, I'm in a particularly constructive bridge building mood, but you guys have seen the other side of me. Sometimes I'm ready to go to fucking war, Balake. You know what I'm saying? It's like, let's make peace while there's peace to make. You know, if they can make peace in the Middle East, aren't they about to agree to a truce? Aren't the negotiations over in the Middle East about to make some good progress? I think if they can do it, we can do it. All right, Lexi Ann, personal drama needs to be kept private. Yes. You can still like someone and dislike some of their behavior. Tell me more. Bliss Chris, the infighting content grabs you a lot of views and subs for a time. Right when those creators switch back to content, those supporters will be moving on to someone else. I love you for your content, Aaron. Thank you very much. That's what she said. Says, I like seeing this softer analytical side of Aaron. It's very non-Scientology of him. Do you know what's funny? This softer analytical side of me is the side of me that when things were really hard and heavy in the Sea organization and everything was fucking terrible and awful, and all I could see was like fucking losing my shit and being declared and expelled, I would basically sit down and handle myself. I was never one of these guys that would go to the ethics officer or my senior or anyone and be like, I'm having trouble. Can you help me? Can we talk it through? I don't talk things through. I feel worse about things when I talk them through. I have to think them through. And I can't think when someone else is talking, and I can't think when I'm talking. I got to just think. And I would sit down and I would like go over, process it and process it and process it and process it until I could figure out what about this I could take responsibility for. And then as soon as I was like, that's it, that's the thing, that's the key. And then I would feel better about the whole thing. And then I would, go resolve whatever the conflict or the problem was that got me into all the trouble in the first place. And then I would go do my lower conditions and I would be a good old Sea Org member again. Now, of course, I'm telling you how I would auto brainwash myself to stay in a cult. So this is not a feel-good story here, folks, but it shows this is not necessarily the non-Scientology side of Aaron. This capacity to do this also enabled me to stay in the cult for a lot more years than I needed to. And I don't really know what to think about that, you guys. I guess good tools can be used for good or bad. It's all retro. Hey, Aaron, I'm a longtime viewer and I'm not going anywhere because you're so good at this YouTube shizzle. I love that comment. Thank you. That crazy Canuck. True, Aaron. You can work things out, but no, a person is not right to be in your close inner circle too. There you go. You both need to be adult enough to agree to disagree and be okay with it. Love it. Julia O'Connell, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Debbie Baker, Aaron, I'm so proud of you. At least you looked into the mirror and found out that you could be and are, or you could be a big and better man that all of us have seen in you. I'm so proud of you. You got this, Aaron. Thank you very much, Debbie. Arnie Van Helen, I used to think she was fun as hell, even in my Grindr videos, but now she is so out there. Tina and the last 20. The best world leaders understands, establish your basic principles you both agree upon, and the build a bridge to work together. Sounds right. Oops, I skipped one. Joe Raz and her alien dog. I am demanding more funny videos. Aaron, you have to pick up your game. Christy Covington. I sincerely hope that you both continue focusing on bettering yourselves and finding peace and healing. Just genuine Ginny Stout. Here's seed money to bring the whole community back together. Because in my experience, community is not just a thing. It is the only thing. Y'all go out for a virtual ice cream cone. That's very nice of you, Jenny. Thank you. World of Enchantment. The church acquires its joy from those who are not with them, tearing each other apart. Scientology didn't win again. Oh, thank you for that. I like that. A buckled up buttercup. One rule that I've always found profoundly helpful is just try to leave the person you're dealing with a little better than you found them. Wise advice. Adam Carmona, we need a grand peace treaty signing ceremony with little flags and everything. That would be so funny. And Natalie should broker the peace deal. Debbie Baker, what you are trying to do is be a bigger, better man than Mike Rinder could ever be. Oh, I don't want to, this isn't a drag Mike Rinder video. Mike Rinder death really opened your eyes. I am so proud of you for trying to do better. You are the best. Thank you. Does it matter to you? Not to me. It is upsetting to watch the emotional drain this is causing to the ex-members. And that's undeniable. That's undeniable. It is fucking exhausting. And it's not productive unless you've sat down and created a construct in your mind where this is the righteous path. And it's what allows you to keep going on that path. And you've tricked yourself into thinking that anybody who wants you to go on another path is trying to trick you, and they're trying to hurt you, and they're trying to abuse you, and they're trying to gaslight you. And it's like, okay, all right. Cats, bats, and flowers. Comment, missed the first hour. Seems to me you've grown. Self-awareness, compassion, and empathy. Self-awareness is such a gift to yourself and the people in your life. Very nice. Donna Hanna, new member. Thank you. Abraham, it's good to learn your mindset and thought process as it helps put into context the many things that have been misconstrued by others. That's a good point, Abraham. And that is why I do like to explain how I came to decide to do things exactly for what you just said here. Debbie Baker, I must say that you've always been honest on your channel. You choose what you wanted to discuss, and you've always chosen what you wanted to share with us, but you were always honest with us. I am so glad you mentioned that, because I've never really had a reason to like do a whole video about this, but I feel that in this community, you either have to choose to say, I'm not going to talk about that, or if you're going to talk about it, you better fucking be honest about it. Because a lot of people in this community have been saddled with keeping other people's secrets and lies, who have chosen to lie to all of you about shit they know we all know they're lying about. And it's fucking bad for business, and it's bad for the community, because putting the onus on other people to keep your fucking lies for you, that's when those chickens eventually come home to roost. So I feel that what you have said is exactly how I've approached my channel. I've either said, that's not worth talking about it, and I'm not going to talk about it, or I'm not even going to acknowledge it. Or if I do talk about it, it's going to be fucking honest. I think that's what audiences want. You know, people, I know that when I watch people on YouTube, I just want to feel like I'm talking to a friend who's being authentic. And that's how I have tried to approach what I've tried to approach. Now, of course, I know there's other people who'd be like, you lied about this, you lied about this, you lied about this, you lied about this. And I go, no, I didn't. You just think I did because you don't have all the information. So, all right. Mary James, the only one that benefits from all the chaos and division is Scientology. They're loving it. I agree. Tiggy, thanks, Aaron. Happy to hear these words and reflections. You're clearly passionate about bringing down Scientology. Keep up the great work. It's true. Nothing will ever get me to stop doing these videos. If I didn't make any money on these videos, I would still do them while making money another way. Nothing drives me more than trying to be Scientology's worst nightmare and trying to get other people to do the same. And we finally have a platform where all former Scientologists can say exactly what they want to say without editors, producers, lawyers, networks, corporations censoring them. All of us being able to say whatever we want on here is Scientology's worst nightmare. The fact that we're even able to make money doing it is doubly Scientology's worst nightmare, which is why once I started to get success on this thing, I told everyone I could, come on board, everybody. This is the promised land. I'll do it. I'll help you in any way I can. I heard Nora say, Aaron promised me I would make $20,000 a month. I said, no, I told you I was making $20,000 a month. And I told you, you could too, because you're good at this. Nora said, he told some people who was making $20,000 a month. He told other people who was making $70,000 a month. That's because some months I made $20,000 and other months I made $70,000. That's how YouTube works. It was only 1 month, guys. It was a good month. The 70 was just 1 month. And film the police. William. And by the way, guys, it wasn't $70,000 that month. It was $80,000 that month. It was a good month. Why the fuck? William. Glad you're here, William. I don't mean to keep that comment up. Can you take it down? Guys, YouTube is the promised land for former Scientologists. I so want to get back to the days where it was safe and fun for us all to try to collaborate as much as possible, guys. It's if we're gonna do this, let's fucking do it right. You know, let's have fun doing it. Anyone who thinks we're not supposed to have fun doing it, I simply disagree with you. Anyways, look at me getting all nostalgic, you guys. I just want to get back to the good old days, you guys. All right, let's see. Does it matter to you? Not to me. The eye of the storm is calm, while everything around it deals with the wrath. Ooh, that stings. It's true. The people in this community who are here to support us are some of the people getting hurt the absolute most. And it's like, what better way to hurt the community than to push away and get rid of all the people who are here to support the community, who are part of the community, for everyone's sake, for all of our sakes, even for the sake of the people who want to be here and continue supporting us. We need to figure out a better way. Nisa, airing your dirty laundry in public is not the greatest thing to do. If somebody is saying something rotten about you, cover your ears. All right. Lexi Ann, this is the Aaron that brought me here and will keep me here. Thank you, Lexi, and thank you for being here. Gabuddy Neverin. Have always loved your content and supported you. Love your self-reflection and growth. Thank you very much. Christine Canton, I usually change the channel when I find out a live stream is just bashing other people. I'm here for the information about Scientology. Thank you. Mad Marcia, I hate that every public squabble amongst ex-Scientologists I know. Wait, I hate that every public squabble among ex-Scientologists I know, Scientology will use as fodder. Absolutely. Oh, I don't even have water here. Okay. I'm proud of you. You've always been 100% honest with us. I've tried, Debbie. And I think I have, honestly. Naomi Hales. Back to game nights. That's the promised land, you guys. I said we were going to get back to game nights once I finally got the foundation approved by YouTube for the YouTube giving program. And I had done the procedure that I thought was the procedure for getting that approved. And it turns out it was the wrong procedure. And then I tried to do the right procedure. And then there was a fuck up between GuideStar. And then I was in YouTube support hell. I was in, what do they call that? A purgatory. I was in YouTube support purgatory. And that finally got resolved. And I was able to resubmit the request just 2 days ago. And even last night, as I was in bed, like late, I was like refreshing my email, looking for the response. And anyway, we should be able to get back to game night really, really soon. Yeah. And that's it. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining me. And thank you all who can continue to watch and continue to support. And by the way, I've been getting so many comments and emails from people asking why my videos are no longer showing up in their feed, why they're not getting notifications. Nobody really knows why YouTube works the way that it works sometimes. But if you're not getting notifications, maybe unclick that notification bell, re-click that notification bell. Who knows, guys? We'll figure it out eventually. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, Oh Dancing for My Love, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.